Remembering Connecticut, the fight for women's suffrage. In 1917, as the United States prepared to enter a war that would make the world safe for democracy, an argument raged over whether to extend the privileges of democracy to half of the country's population. Should women be allowed to vote? Women in Connecticut had pursued that right since 1867, when the General Assembly had first defeated a suffrage bill. The Connecticut Woman Suffrage Association was founded in 1869, but it lacked a forceful voice until the early 20th century, when new leaders invigorated the organization. Among them was Catherine Houghton Hepburn, mother of the well-known actress. By 1917, when the General Assembly again debated a suffrage law, the membership of the association had risen to 32,000. Some women claimed the right to vote on the grounds of simple justice. Others contended that bringing women into the process would clean up the smoke-filled rooms of big politics. Anti-suffragists countered that giving women the vote would not elevate the political process, but would instead degrade women. Mrs. Ansel G. McCook of Hartford testified,
"In the name of chivalry, we ask you not to burden us with the vote, but to preserve to us our highest influence, an influence which is above and beyond politics."
At a time when the classes were clearly separated and often antagonistic towards one another, the Connecticut Woman Suffrage Association represented a cross-class spirit of cooperation. The association championed the rights of all women, not just the well-to-do, by helping working women in their search for dignity on the job. They lobbied for shorter working hours, the elimination of child labor, and health and safety regulations, and during the war years, when working women went on strike seeking to improve their conditions, they joined with the suffragists in the right for political rights, too. In 1918 and 1919, Connecticut women from every walk of life played a prominent part in the Washington demonstrations held in support of the 19th Constitutional Amendment. Clara Peck, a Bridgeport garment worker, explained why she went to the national capital.
"Because I want to be considered a person. As it is now, I am not a person. I am not anything."
5 other Bridgeport women were arrested in Washington and spent a day in jail with other suffragists. Edna Purtell, an insurance company clerk, recalled her involvement in the 1918 demonstrations.
I said, "Mrs. Hepburn, I haven't got any money to go to Washington. I can't afford it." She said, "Will you go if I pay your way?" Well, I said, "I certainly will. There are a lot of women who would be here, working women, but they can't afford it."
The U.S. Congress finally passed the 19th Amendment in June 1919. However, Connecticut's 2 senators voted against it. And back in Hartford, Governor Holcomb refused to recall the General Assembly in order to ratify the amendment. Frustrated by the year-long pressure placed on him by women's groups, civic groups, and even members of his own Republican Party, he complained,
"It would be better for the country if we could cut the vote we have in 2 rather than add women to it."
Connecticut ratified the 19th Amendment only after the votes of 36 other states had already made it the law. In resisting to the end women's right to vote, the land of steady habits proved itself to be woefully behind the times.